And there you have it. Easily the most highly anticipated mugshot in history has been released today from Donald Trump's arrest and booking in Fulton County, Georgia. His booking also has him listed as 6'3", 215 pounds, which is clearly a number that Donald Trump self-reported, because if he's 215 pounds, then I'm 7'4" and 500 pounds. The mugshot was taken as Trump turned himself in following his indictment on 13 criminal charges in that state. As far as we should expect, this will be the only Trump mugshot having been released, despite being booked in multiple different jurisdictions, including Manhattan for the case regarding his hush money payout to Stormy Daniels, and his 2 federal cases in Florida and Washington, D.C. But the authorities in Fulton County made it abundantly clear that neither Trump nor his co-defendants would get special treatment in their jurisdiction.
We are following our normal practices, and so it doesn't matter your status. We have mugshots ready for you.
And of course, aside from Trump's mugshot, we got a raft of others, including Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, Sidney Powell, John Eastman, and many more. And I wish I could say that I never saw any of this coming, but I'm pretty sure seeing these people pose for their mugshots was about as certain as the sun rising in the morning. And of course, the Trump team has latched on to the fact that these mugshots were taken as evidence that the system is rigged against them, apparently unaware that every indicted criminal defendant is subject to the same treatment. And in fact, Trump and his co-conspirators not getting mugshots in every other jurisdiction is actually proof that the system is rigged in their favor, because no other criminal defendants get to pick and choose how their own bookings process plays out.
As this is all going on, because this is their moment of great celebration. They claim to think that this is a serious moment for democracy, but you see it around the edges. They are gleeful that this man is going to get his mugshot taken tonight, fingerprinted like he summoned Jack and cars in San Francisco. Those people actually go free.
So they're completely bankrupt of ideas on the left. They have nothing left. And so their only option now is to do this.
I'm really curious what's he going to do with this mugshot. I think he should just smile ear to ear as just the biggest middle finger right back at all of this.
Well, it will be the most famous mugshot in the history of the world. I think everyone can agree on that. And as ridiculous and absurd as it is, and you were just talking about my father-in-law's truth post where he talks about, why do you need a mugshot? You need it to identify someone who people may not know. So if they need to be caught somewhere else, if they try to flee, that's why you set a bond. That's why you have a mugshot. It's absurd to think that Donald Trump, who is one of the most famous people in the world, if not the most famous in the world, would ever need one. But we know the goal with this, it is to try and embarrass him in some way. But I think it's going to backfire on them just like everything else does, Rob. This mugshot, you wait for it. It's going to be on posters in people's dorm rooms. It's going to be on T-shirts. It is going to be a flag flown by people who love this country because they're backing Donald Trump. They understand how important this is. They understand how absurd all of this is. And it's exactly why they're going to rally behind him and they're going to vote for him in 2024.
Tell you what, I wish I loved anything as much as Republicans love playing the victim and presenting themselves as martyrs. First of all, I actually tend to agree that Trump's mugshot will be everywhere, but probably not for the reason that Lara Trump thinks. I'd actually be shocked if I didn't end up drinking from a mug by September with a photo of Trump's face plastered on it. But more importantly, let's remember one thing. Donald Trump is not the victim here. He is the perpetrator. No one forced him to break the law. No one forced him to pressure the Georgia Secretary of State to find 11,780 non-existent votes. No one forced his legal team to breach a voting machine in Coffee County. No one forced him to try and install a fake slate of electors. No one forced him to pressure the legislature into refusing to accept the election results. If Trump and his lackeys are unhappy with the consequences here, perhaps the time to have considered that was when he was busy breaking the law. And so it is of course inevitable that Trump's mouthpieces will try to present him as some martyr. But of all the people pleading with him not to break the law and ultimately land himself inside of a courtroom, it was the Democrats. The left wanted him to accept the election results. The left wanted him to call off his mob. The left wanted him to accept the proper slates of electors. Had he listened to his sworn enemies on the left, the communist Marxist Democrats, the guy wouldn't be posing for any mugshot right now. He'd be enjoying retirement at one of his golf courses instead of doing a nationwide tour of courthouses. And by the way, if there was was any doubt about just how much Republicans love playing the victim, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene proving as much.
It's a horrible day in America, but to stand in solidarity with President Trump, I made my own mugshot with the Fulton County Jail here logo, and I changed it to my official photo on Twitter. So I encourage everyone to make your own MAGA mugshot. Stand with President Trump. We always stand with our president because he's the one that's going to save this country, and we thank God for him. So that's what I did to stand in solidarity. I'm standing right here at the jail with all of y'all. I think right side, I think everybody that's here, and we're going to support them all the way.
These people are so desperate to present themselves as victims that even the ones who managed not to get arrested are creating their own mugshots, which actually strikes me as a little silly because if there's one thing that Republicans are legitimately good at, it is getting charged and arrested. So in a way, I'm a little disappointed that Marjorie Taylor Greene is playing pretend here when the rest of her allies found a way to do the real thing. But look, the reason is pretty simple. The GOP relies on grievance politics because if they don't present themselves as victims, then it'll become apparent that they're the ones seeking to hurt every vulnerable group. Remember, this is a party that attacks the LGBT community. It's a party that attacks minorities. It's a party that attacks women. It's a party that attacks young people. It's a party that attacks non-Christians. If they drop the facade that they're the victims, it'll become immediately apparent that in fact, they're the ones persecuting others. And so instead they just project and play make-believe because they enjoy lying to themselves that somehow a party of overwhelmingly white Christian conservatives are getting the short end of the stick in the United States of America. Tell you what, walk outside for 3 minutes in December in this country and tell me that Christianity is under attack. But they will continue this facade because the GOP is not concerned with objective reality, they're concerned with power. They want to cling on to what dwindling power they have left, and they'll do it through whatever means possible, through gerrymandering and court packing and voter suppression and election subversion and violence, and if they really have to, insurrection attempts on the seat of government. All this talk about law and order in the Constitution and our framers was a cover to give themselves plausible deniability while they focused on their actual plans, which were to undermine that very democracy at every turn in service of consolidating power for themselves. So they'll cry victim about Donald Trump, but again, he is not the victim. He is the latest manifestation of a decades-long Republican effort to discard every tenet of democracy while cementing one-party rule. I'm not cheering on Trump's arrest because I hate him, although I'm not gonna lie, dude's not my favorite person. I'm cheering on his arrest because it shows that the very system his party has spent years trying to dismantle is actually holding up. Maybe not strongly, maybe not quickly, but it's holding up, and that's something that should give us hope. We've spent years parading ourselves around as a country where no one is above the law. Now we'll actually get a chance to see that mantra put to the test as the biggest criminal in US history is finally forced to answer for his crimes in court. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.